Rated mature audiences only. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hey guys, if you're looking for a steak, I know it's hard to find steak, right? You know, a lot of restaurants that just overcooked, undercooked, just not to your taste buds, right? You want that juicy steak. Look no further than Omaha Steak. I love them, guys. Love them. If I didn't love them, why wouldn't I be promoting them on the podcast today? Go over to Omaha Steaks, okay? They are phenomenal, guys. The juiciest steak you'll ever taste in your life. Okay? A lot of people are like, well, how does it get delivered to your house? You know, with gnats and bugs going to get into it. And no. It's not, you don't have to worry about all that. It is in a sealed, perishable bag delivered to your house. So you don't have to worry about the gnats and the bugs get into it. It's fresh. From the time they ship it from their distribution center to the time it arrives at your house. The juiciest steak you'll ever have in your life, guys. Check them out today. Omaha Steaks. Love them. They're phenomenal.
Broadcasting from the Big Peach of Atlanta, Georgia. A show unfiltered, unscripted, raw. The Patriot Angle Podcast.
All right, guys, welcome to today's show. Welcome. This is just doing an audio podcast tonight, Spotify, Google, and Apple. So for those who's tuning in now, this is only exclusive on the audio podcast. Gonna get back to video just possibly next week. Doing a lot of different things here on the show. Getting some more graphics added into the show, backdrop, better quality, so to speak. But definitely, guys, thank you for tuning in to our audio version of the podcast. Thank you. Going to be calling PJ in a moment here. Going to have him on the show of his panel, Archangel Protective Intelligence. So welcome to tonight's show, guys. Like I said, PJ will be on momentarily. But I want to get into the Cuomo thing. What's going on with Chris Cuomo? Touched on that a little bit as I got into my podcast episode earlier this week. Yes, Cuomo is no more. Cuomo primetime, no more. But with that being said, guys, welcome to today's show. All right, guys, back to the show here. We got PJ of Archangel Protective Intelligence on the phone today. How you doing, PJ?
I'm doing great, Mike. Yourself?
I'm doing phenomenal. Good. I want to, like I said, it's going to be a quick podcast tonight. Normally I do, quick ones. Normally I like to do the full-on hour. But, hey, that's what makes podcasts unique, right? It's all about you. But, it's also about the listener and follower, too, and what they want to hear and what they don't want to hear. But it's always about you, Like, that's what makes the show, you know what I mean?
Yep. I know when I listen to podcasts, and I listen to so many podcasts, and I listen to some real boring intelligence podcasts where they just, pock at you. I think the best ones are always when you feel like you're part of the conversation to some extent, right?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. And, like I said, your best podcast, PJ, is always the last one you just got done doing. And you learn from that and you get better. Like you hear podcast hosts today, they got to that level from constantly improving from their last episode. And like that's what makes your next episode the best one, because you're learning from the previous to make the next one just as better. So hey, it's a win-win scenario type of thing. But let's get into this Cuomo thing. Chris Cuomo being fired from CNN. What's your thoughts on that, PJ?
Well, I'm happy to see it, but Chris Cuomo was, before even the sexual allegations came out, he was using his assets as a journalist. He was using his sources to go after some of his brother's accusers and really run interference from his brother. There was coordination between his team and his brother's team. And so he really abused CNN's infrastructure and CNN's resources to run interference for his brother, which is funny because they run interference for Democrats anyway.
Right. I agree. And he because I touched this on this just the episode just prior to this, where he was actually crying out, PJ, saying, I'm very disappointed in CNN, terminating me from my position of Cuomo Primetime, which I made the most popular, highest rated show on all of the news platforms, which, to be honest with you, PJ, I never watched Primetime. To me, it was just another liberal show, and I don't understand how people actually fed into that type of garbage, because I'm not a big fan of CNN. So,
right.
By him saying that, he's disappointed in his own network firing him, how can you be disappointed? You got caught red-handed. You were trying to cover up your older brother's mess as a governor. The guy was accused of sexually harassing women. You got caught. You got caught trying to cover for your brother.
Arrogant people.
Yes.
That's all it boils down to.
Yeah.
There's an arrogance that says, "How dare you fire me?
Yeah.
I am CNN. I am your network. You can't fire me." And these people are appalled when they have to face consequences because they're not used to it.
No, because they don't want to be put in the spot. You know what I mean? It's like, they don't want to be put in the corner. Like, you remember that, what was it, that movie back in Dirty Dancing, right? No one puts baby in the corner. Well, they don't want to be put in the corner. Like, they don't want to get caught in their corruption. Their lies, their manipulation tactics. They don't want to be caught doing all that because it, like you said, it puts a bad angle on their agendas.
And they've certainly, been caught doing that kind of stuff before. But usually when they're caught, someone apologizes for them and someone makes it go away for them.
Yeah.
And they never have to face the consequences of their own bad behavior.
Yeah, of course.
So this really took them by surprise.
Yeah. And now they're saying, this new article coming out today I'm reading, saying that CNN won't pay Chris Cuomo a severance package. What, he's expected a severance package? Like, come on.
Yeah, and it will probably be a big legal battle between him and CNN. He's certainly not hurting for money, I don't think. He actually had a book coming out, and HarperCollins canceled his book because of all the scandal.
Yeah. Do you think it has to do with his termination? That I guess towards that too, right?
Yeah, I think he's just someone who is undesirable at the moment, and so you don't want your brand associated with him. Whether he ever, comes back and is the golden boy again or not remains to be seen.
Yeah, and that was just this past Tuesday that HarperCollins publishers said that the Custom House imprint has literally canceled the book that you're talking about, which was called Deep Denial by Chris Cuomo. And that was going to be basically published on Amazon.com and I'm sure others, the other book companies, Books A Million and all that. Sad news for Cuomo. Is Cuomo going to be, looking for another job? Do you think possibly he might go over to Fox, PJ? Or, do you think MSNBC is going to pick him up? Or, what's going to happen with this guy?
Well, I think Fox would be too savvy to touch him.
Yeah.
That will alienate a lot of their viewership if they were to try to do that. But
right.
MSNBC is friendly territory for sure. Yeah. And we could be seeing Chris Cuomo on MSNBC. But right now is probably not the time that we are going to be seeing it. Right now, I think he is kind of radioactive.
Well, they have a replacement now, a temporary replacement, and this guy, Michael, I got to look him up. It's a new replacement that basically is going to be replacing Chris Cuomo. It's only a temporary replacement for Chris Cuomo. Now, who's going to be permanently replacing Cuomo? I don't know. The slot might be empty for a little bit. Are they going to continue the whole prime time segment? That time slot? Is it going to be, this new dude that's basically coming in to replace him? This Michael, who is it? I got to get his name correctly. I said it on the show the other day, the other podcast I did the other day. I can't pronounce his name, but he's actually from Sirius XM. So basically, they have him coming in to replace Cuomo on a temporary basis to fill in that slot. It's still in the clouds, it's still in the air of what they're going to do. But.
Yeah, I think it is. Michael Smirchinish? I've never heard of this guy.
Yeah. I said his first name on purpose because I don't want to say his last name because I really can't pronounce the last name. He's from, like, if you look him up and you look at his background, he's coming from Sirius XM. So he's done a couple of shows on Sirius XM. He's done some independent shows. So the guy is not. He's not a stranger when it comes to being on live television. He's not shy of doing that. But to talk more of what Cuomo was talking about on his show Primetime, I believe it's going to be a new, a new angle for him. I don't know really too much about this guy that's replacing him. So,
It looks like the plan is long-term for Jake Tapper to replace him.
Jake Tapper? Really?
Yeah, I got this radar online from 1 day ago.
Okay.
So, Jake Tapper's a loyal soldier, right? He's been working for the company for a long time. So,
do you think they'll give it to Lemon? And kind of change this segment a little bit with Lemon, and have Lemon have that show?
I don't know. That's a good question. It looks like, at least for now, probably Tapper. Don Lemon has also been pretty heavily criticized for all the lies he's been caught in lately as well.
Yeah, he's
So,
he's been definitely hitting a lot of radar on CNN. With some of the crap that he said, over the last couple of years. But yeah, I don't know. Sad news for CNN, right? I mean, not that anybody cares, right? I don't think anybody watches CNN. Do you watch CNN, PJ?
I have not watched CNN in a very long time. I think the last time I probably saw CNN was on in an airport or something.
Oh, really? Yeah, I mean, that's the only time I see.
Go on my way to watch CNN.
Yeah, that's like the only time I do see CNN is like if I'm traveling, like if I'm at an airport or I'm at like, different stations or something like that, it's always on their television screen. You rarely see Fox News or, even NBC or the other news networks on their TVs. It's always CNN.
Yeah, there's always CNN. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Why exactly that is, but I mean, they certainly wouldn't put Fox News. I think there'd be some leftist rage if you were in an airport and there was a Fox News on. Although I really consider Fox News maybe a little bit to the conservative side, but I still think Fox News is a big news corporation that does the bidding of their corporate masters as well.
Right.
And so I don't think that Fox News is the place to always turn on. Television news, the 24-hour news cycle.
Yeah.
And this is something that we can for sure get into because I have done a lot of training on propaganda. I was just at, if you know, there's a former KGB officer named Jack Barsky.
Okay.
Who defected to the United States. He came over here and decided that he never wanted to go back. And so he told them that they were very afraid that that AIDS would get into the country. And so he told them, hey, I contracted AIDS.
What?
You probably don't want me back in Russia. And the Russians said, no, we don't want you back. So we went to the FBI and said, hey, I've been an illegal. I've been working deep cover for the KGB.
Yeah.
And they said, no, you're not. We've never heard of you. But the KGB is really kind of the masters of disinformation and propaganda, what they called active measures. And the 24-hour news cycle is really not conducive to truth-telling because, first of all, everybody wants to be first. They don't really have the time to worry about being correct. They want to get it out first. And, the news isn't very exciting.
It's not exciting as it once was. I mean, I remember growing up as a kid, and my mom or my father would be, the first thing in the morning, they would turn the news on, right? They would do the morning routine, get the coffee going, and that was a normal routine for us, I mean, I grew up in New Jersey, so, like growing up in New Jersey, like that's I remember my mom and my dad doing every day, like, turning on the news, and it would have the same lineup every single day, PJ, with the weather, and then your local news, and then that was it. It was exciting. I thought it was exciting. Like my mom thought it was. The news was very exciting back then. There was none of that dividing.
I mean, those were fairly localized people, right?
Yeah.
You almost felt like you got to know them a little bit because they were on your local TV. You kind of got to feel like you're friends with the people that you do the news. They're telling you stuff, and you choose to trust them.
Yeah.
But they're telling you facts with a smile, and really all the news is just facts. Facts can be very dry.
Oh, sure.
So now they try to make it much more exciting to fill that 24-hour news cycle. And that's one of the main factors that should tell you that you are not getting pure news, that you are being manipulated. If someone's trying to make you feel strong feelings, if they're trying to inflame you about Trump or whatever it is, you can know, hey, this is not.
But PJ, what I'm trying to say, right? But what I'm trying to say is, back then, like, what you're talking about now, with the negativity through the news and all that, we didn't have that back then,
right?
Or at least I don't remember we had it back then. We didn't have the Trump derangement syndrome that you see on the news platforms today. We didn't have any of that crap. It was just straight news. You didn't have. You didn't have, you didn't have Don Lemon spewing out, white supremacy. You didn't have the idiots from The View of Whoopi Goldberg constantly with her Trump derangement and all that crap. And we gotta, keep our borders open, and we have to worry about the migrants. And I mean, we didn't have any of that crap. Yes, our country was designed for migrants. Don't get me wrong, folks. I'm not against immigration in this country. I'm not. I'm for merit base.
Well, I'm very concerned about the migrants, and you and I have talked about this in the not so distant past. Is they bring the migrants here, and these migrants get used basically as slave laborers, and they just get horribly abused. And neither the Democrat or Republican establishment wants to talk about it, and they don't want to talk about shutting down the border or controlling immigration, or even going back to a really kind of a Staten Island type of system where you pretty much let anybody in, but they were vetted, they were assimilated. You don't hear about that.
No.
Because they benefit from the slave labor.
Yeah, and you posted speaking of you talking about that, you had posted something on my Facebook group page with slave labor in southern Georgia.
It's going on in southern Georgia. It's going on in a lot of places that we don't hear about, that we don't see about. But basically they had a migrant pipeline to several different places in southern Georgia, and they were using them as modern day slaves.
Yeah.
So much of immigration is about slavery and the human traffickers that bring people in. like to trap people into debt right away when they get into the United States.
Yeah, and that's I guess that's what the midnight flights. Remember the midnight flights earlier this year of Biden with these mysterious midnight flights from activity from Texas through Georgia through all these states of just these airplanes and in some parts Greyhound buses. They would just pile them up and bring them all over the place. I mean, this is probably what it had to do with, like Biden was like, that's one of the reasons why he doesn't care about the border. He wants the border open,
Right. And if think about that story, you don't hear about it anymore. That's been buried.
Oh, it's been, yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah, it's.
And some people said, "Hey, what's going on? What's the deal with these midnight flights and these people being, driven in by Greyhound buses and just loaded on the buses with no clue where they're going?"
Yeah, and see, Greyhound. See, a lot of people, they don't realize something about Greyhound. Greyhound and these companies now. Like they have this new type of technology where, they're not questioning the identity of the person. All it takes is just a simple download of an app, I'm told, where you basically can just download the app and, pay for the ticket. And when you go to the terminal, all you have to do is show your phone and then, the barcode is right there. Is that person really who that person is claiming to be? And this is...
Oh, yeah, you do that, when you go to the movies.
I understand that, but what I'm trying to say is that this is what was being done with these migrants.
Yeah, I take your point. You can be anybody.
Yeah, this is how they were. This is how they were coming into the country with companies like Greyhound. They would take advantage of this type of software that they're using through their app, and just say, "Oh yeah, I'm John Doe or something like that." You know what I mean? When they're really, Jose Gonzalez or something. You know what I mean? Like it's the type of there's words to it, PJ, but it's frustrating. It really is.
Well, it's a type of really, it's a type of disappearing people. Is you can say, "Hey, you know what? You can get on this bus. You can say you're John Smith. They'll scan your app, and then you can have your privacy. You won't be, harassed by law enforcement. You won't be."
Yeah.
But what they don't realize is that as soon as your identity is erased like that,
yeah,
we can do anything we want to you. No one's going to miss you.
Yeah. Yeah, it's... I just don't... I don't know. I don't understand it.
Yeah, no, I'd like to again repeat what I posted with it the other day. It's almost Christmas time, and one of my favorite Christmas carols is "O Holy Night." There's that lyric that says, "Chains shall he break, for the slave is our brother, and in his name all oppression shall cease." And that became an extremely popular hymn with American abolitionists.
Wow.
It was translated into English because of that line and because of that concept, that they could say, Christ came to set these captives free, and you're keeping them in bondage. It's unchristian behavior. Well, we like to think that bondage has at least disappeared from America,
Yeah.
And it's just more underground now.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're better at hiding it, but technology can be used to keep track of you, but it also can be used to erase you. And these migrants can disappear very, very easily.
And I like the word that you used, the word technology. Yes, I know you used the word technology can erase you. Well, we're clearly seeing that with big tech. They don't agree with you, PJ. They can pretty much erase you like that. With a snap of a finger. You know, embarrass you, shadow ban you, completely, just destroy your character.
Well, and people like you and I who make content and promote things on social media.
Yeah.
And are really kind of dependent on that. They can really just decide if we're taking this revenue stream away from you now.
Yeah, I mean they can do it like that. It's I've seen them. I've seen them literally censor stuff I posted on my own personal Facebook page, or my the Patriot Angle podcast Facebook page. Where you post something, whether it's true or not. That's not true. That you are posting misinformation about COVID-19 and this and that. First of all, how can they say? And I'm going to say this, PJ, and I'll say it until what my grandma used to say, until the cows come home. Right? This is not a fact check. This is what's called an opinion check. Stop calling them fact checkers. They're called opinion checkers. That's really what they are, because a fact can be proven right or wrong. You know what I mean? How can you say on Facebook that is wrong? Biden didn't really say that about black people. What he really meant to say, no. He actually did say it. You know what I mean? It's an opinion. It's, oh boy. I'm like, sometimes I wonder. Sometimes, PJ, is this country being ran by a bunch of morons? Kindergarten students.
I really think I talk about a mentor of mine with my intelligence stuff, and he always says that it's stupid people being controlled by evil people.
Yeah.
And I really think that probably gets to the heart of it.
Yeah. I can relate the same way. Like somebody posted something the other day on my blog, which is on the website, patriotanglepodcast.com. And someone said that, Mike, you said on the episode a couple episodes back with the episode with Divide or Conquer. I had the episode, that was the episode, the entitlement on it, Divide or Conquer. And he had said that, you had talked about in one segment of the show where we are becoming a socialist country. That is completely not accurate. And I said, well, to each his own. That's your opinion, and my opinion is differs from what you're saying. And he literally, I had to, PJ, I literally had to I had to block him. I don't like doing that because then it makes me feel more of like a Mark Zuckerberg type thing. And your opinion is your opinion. But I had said, I said that in closing that that's your opinion. I'm not a person that always delivers 100% fact. Okay. all of us aren't that. I mean, you got Bongino, you got Savage, you got all these political podcast hosts out there, right? Some of the stuff they say on their show is not always accurate, and they admit to that. Because maybe the source that they're getting from is not accurate. You know what I mean? So I just wanted to clarify it with that whole statement. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's some people can't handle. Well, a lot of people can't handle when you have differing opinions from them at all.
I told them. I said I'm a podcast host. I'm not a a person that. What the hell's the words for it? It's getting to the almost 10:30 at night here, and I'm getting tired here, so I'm gonna be closing it off here soon. But it's they think because you're a podcast host that you always have to be right about everything. Well, sometimes I say something on the show and I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. I said that on the show. I don't think that was right. Let me apologize and said, hey, like I've said that many times on the show. Like I've said something on the show and then maybe like an episode or two episodes later, I'll go back to that episode and I'll say, what I said was inaccurate. I do apologize. I'm sorry. I think it's baffling that you have people that comment on your panel, on your blog, on your website, on social media, and they get crazy with their comments. That's not true. That's not whoa. Okay, it's not true. It's over and done with. Let's talk about something else now. That's the society that we live in today.
Absolutely.
Do I get a little hysteric on the show, and do I get a little, high energy? Do I have high energy and stuff like that? Yes, I do. Sometimes I slip up my words and stuff like that, but hey, no one's perfect. I didn't always go to the best schools, and I'll admit that every day on my podcast. My education was not always the best. I grew up in the city, so it was different from somebody living in, pretty much the other side of the tracks. You know what I mean? So, today I look at it like where you always have to explain yourself to people, and I never remember it always to be like that. As a kid, like. I don't remember my mother constantly explaining herself to people, or my father constantly explaining himself to somebody. Today, it's like you have
take a page out of that book. You don't have to. You don't have to explain. You don't owe people an explanation.
Yeah.
They feel you do just because you've got a podcast and they can.
But no, I'm not just talking about the podcast, PJ. I'm talking about personal life too. I'm getting personal here where, you always it feels like into today's society, you always have to explain yourself to somebody. Like, why can't people, PJ, just go about their own business and that's that? Like we used to have, in the heydays.
I refuse to explain myself to people.
Yeah. But
I mean, people don't even want an explanation from you.
Yeah.
They want you to kowtow to their opinion. So I wouldn't even waste my time.
Yeah. But we got 2 minutes here left on the show. You have a new book out, right? You want to plug that into today's show? I was seeing that on your Instagram account the other day.
Yep, so it's called Street Level Spycraft. It's on Amazon Kindle. And it is just a lot of tradecraft tips that are really easy to implement in your daily life. They are kind of bite-sized where you don't even have to read this book from beginning to end. You know, there are 25 chapters, in each chapter
Oh, wow.
talks about a different principle. So you can go from chapter 1 to chapter 7, and, you know, if you think chapter 3 isn't real helpful for you, you can disregard it. That's fine. It really is just meant to be a resource for people and help some people in the same way that these things have helped me.
And is that ebook format, or is that paperback, or?
Yep, it's ebook format. It's only on Kindle right now.
Okay.
I think I'll probably do a paperback, but it's been so long since I've gotten a paperback. You know, I like them better. I certainly like reading a physical book better. But
Yeah,
it's just more convenient to download stuff.
and I think that's where the society is going to, more of the ebook rather than the paperback. You know, it's easier. You know, and you know you pretty much, you know, with a paperback, sometimes people can lose books. You know, you got the ebook. It's on your phone, your tablet, your laptop, and you can always pick up, you know, where you left off. That's what I love about ebooks.
Well, you know, I have a problem with having too many books, and storage becomes a real issue.
Yeah, you start to remember like how your grandma, right, with the the big box of books, right? Yeah, yeah. But guys, this is PJ on the phone here with us today on the podcast. You could follow him at Archangel_Protective_Intel on Instagram. Really swell guy. I've had him on my podcast. What are you, about like 3-4 times now, PJ? I think you're more of exclusive now on the show. You know. You still there, PJ? Anyway, guys, that was PJ on the phone here. We're running out of time here, guys. So thank you for tuning in to the audio podcast. Much appreciation. Remember, guys, you can follow me all on my social media platforms, whether it's Instagram or Facebook. You can reach me on my Facebook, the Patriot Angle Podcast, okay? Or you can follow me on my Instagram, Patriot_Angle_Unfiltered. Also check me out on my website, guys. Got a brand new website, PatriotAnglePodcast.com. With that being said, guys, remember, hit that notification bell on Spotify, Google, or Apple, and you will get up-to-date content of episodes, especially when they're launched. That being said, guys, thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next one. Patriot Unfiltered Raw.
You just heard an episode of the Patriot Angle Podcast, an Anchor platform.